Hey guys, Hakeem here, and it's Friday, time for another deck. This week I'm going to do the same thing I did last week, and that is take out a completely untested deck into the lobbies here. So this is just a theoretical build. We may adjust it as the week goes on, just like we did last week. I'm going to try a Dimir discard deck. I mean, there's not really enough discard cards in the pool, to be able to build a true discard deck, because we don't have anything like the Rack or Liliana's Caress to really, make discard a win condition. So I mean, this is more of a Dimir ETB deck than it is, a true discard deck. But there is a lot of discard theme in here, so that's why I called it what I did. And let's go up and have a look at the deck. Let's start off with Brain Maggot. This is one of the new creatures we got in one of the card packs. It's 2 mana, 1/1 enchantment creature. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals his or her hand. You get to grab a card from it, and it exiles until Brain Maggot leaves. So strips a card out of their hand, which is really good. So then I'm just going to go through the creature package here now. We're playing 4 copies of Liliana Spectre. It's a 3 mana 2/1 flyer, and when it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. So that's again more discard. And then we've got a Phyrexian Rager. 4 copies of this. It's a 3 mana 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. So I mean, the thing about this deck, my end game is in the 7 mana range, so I need the card draw, and there's not a whole lot of great early blockers. So I mean, this is the guy I'm relying on. There's a key card in here as far as the enter the battlefield effects go that I'll show you a little bit later. So just keep that in the back of your mind. We're playing Graveborn Muse because this deck is all about drawing cards. So I mean, she's 4 mana 3/3, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is the number of zombies you control. She's the only zombie in the deck, so at the beginning of your upkeep, you're going to lose 1 life and draw 1 card, unless you get them both in play, in which case you're just going to kill yourself. So. But she's a really great card advantage engine if she sticks. So we're going to play her. Got Shadowborn Demon here. He's got another ETB creature, and he's 5/6 flyer to boot, and he kills something. He misses a few key things like Baneslayer and other big demons, but generally pretty good card. So also, I mean, that sacrifice trigger. I guess I'll spill the beans on that secret card. You probably even saw it there though. It's Undying Evil is a card that I really like. So I mean, with Shadowborn Demon, when his sacrifice trigger is on the stack, you can Undying Evil something and then sacrifice it and get it to come back, reuse the ETB. A lot of cool things you can do with his sacrifice trigger. So Undying Evil is another reason that I wanted to play like an ETB style deck. So we'll see how it turns out. We'll see what the list is made of. But gonna play Sheoldred Whispering One. Obviously, I mean, she's win condition all on her own. She's a 6/6 swamp walk for 7. She forces your opponent to sacrifice creatures, and she brings back your own creatures, and that's really the key thing, because pretty much every creature in the deck has an enters the battlefield trigger. So after you've chump blocked and traded and gone through the early game, you get to bring them back and force more discard or draw more cards or kill something else with Shadowborn Demon or whatever the case might be. So obviously she's insane in any deck that can cast her, and this one can. So we're gonna play her. 2 copies of Runescarred Demon. I like to affectionately refer to these guys as Sheoldred copies 2 and 3. She is the deck's endgame, and having these 2 guys lets us go and find her. I mean, a 6/6 flyer can win you the game on its own, especially when it's got a tutor attached. But really, we want to go, once we've got Runescarred mana, we want to go get Sheoldred and put her into play in most matchups. So he's there to increase the consistency of finding this gal. And 3 copies of Dinrova Horror, 6 mana 4/4, not great stats, not terrible, but not great. But when it enters the battlefield, you return any permanent, that includes the land, to its owner's hand, and then that player discards a card. So if you can get their hand empty, this is just hard removal. So it's pretty good, and at the very least, it slows them down and puts a 4/4 into play. So I think it's a pretty good card. All right, so that's the creatures. I have one other creature in here, Talrand Sky Summoner. I had the deck at 59 cards, didn't know, I was waffling on that last slot, didn't really know what to do. I've tried Talrand in here before in this archetype. I tested it out over a month ago. Pretty similar list to this one. That's kind of where I got the idea for it. Probably played 10 or 15 games with it. Added green, totally fucked it up, forgot about it. But so this is Talrand. He's legendary, so I figured he's a decent addition for. He satisfies my OCD for that singleton, because the I can tell myself, hey, he's legendary. You can't ever have 2 in the battlefield. So whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you get a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying. So that's really good. The deck has 15 spells, but the main reason I want to play him is because, like I said, we have Undying Evil, so we can tap out for Talrand and leave up a swamp, and or Dimir Gate, I guess, and they can shoot removal at it. You can give Talrand Undying, get a Drake off casting Undying Evil, and then bring Talrand back as a 3/3. So that's pretty sweet. And like I said, the deck has 15 spells, 4 of which are Think Twice and can be cast from the graveyard. So you know, he's one of those cards they got to remove him, and we've got enough spells to make it to the point where, you know, he's going to be a solid threat. So what didn't I talk about? Let's start at the beginning. Playing 4 copies of Vapor Snag. We're playing a bit of discard, and we're playing a bit of a tempo game. So, you know, the ability to just return something to its owner's hand, you know, like an Aura deck. I mean, if they slap a bunch of Nimbus Wings on something, you can just snag it. You know, Vapor Snag is a really good card. Kind of didn't, you know, I was originally playing Voyage's End here, but I think the 1 mana on Vapor Snag is more important than the Scry, since I've got a lot of draw into this deck. So, oh, excuse me. So I think the 1 mana on Vapor Snag is going to be a little bit more useful overall. So that's why I chose that over Voyage's End. Think Twice is just, you know, we want to get to 7 mana and play our end game. And this is just card draw, you know, it's an extra Talrand trigger. Even though he was added at the very end, Think Twice was going to be in here. We just want to keep drawing cards and have a full hand while we bounce the opponent's creatures and just disrupt their play through discard and whatnot. Combat tricks with Undying Evil and all that sort of stuff. And the last 3 cards are Tribute to Hunger. So Tribute to Hunger makes your opponent sacrifice a creature, and you gain life equal to its toughness. It's an instant, costs 3 mana. I mean, against tokens and other shit, it's pretty bad. You know, you're only going to nuke a token and gain 1 life for 3 mana, which is not the greatest thing in the world. I know that, but every now and then you'll catch a big creature with it and gain a bunch of life. The main reason I'm including it more so, it's more about the life gain than the removal, because we've got 4 Phyrexian Ragers in here, and we've got 2 Graveborn Muses. So it's, I mean, if I nuke a 2/2 and gain 2 life, you know, I got to remove a creature and pay for 2 cards off Graveborn Muse. I mean, I think that's value for 3 mana. And, you know, it's got huge upside. You know, if someone just cultivates into a Baneslayer, you can just remove that for 3 mana at instant speed and gain 5 life. So, I mean, against the mid-range decks, you're gonna have Tribute to Hunger perform pretty well. And, you know, it also combos well if you got a Vapor Snag in your hand. You can bounce the little guy and then tribute the big guy. Same goes, I mean, with Dinrova Horror, although that's 9 mana, so I mean, it's not something that's really worth playing around, but I mean, it's still a thing. So yeah, that's the deck. I mean, basically, we just want to play some cheap creatures, starting on 3 mana, and Undying Evil is really, you know, the card that I'm excited to play with. It's not a card you see very often, and you know, hopefully it'll do some work. You know, to get more Phyrexian Ranger triggers, make them bigger. Force more discard through Liliana Spectre after you chump with something. You know, abuse the sacrifice clause here on Shadowborn Demon. You can give your own Shadowborn Undying and sacrifice itself to kill something else. You know, I mean, on a Runescar Demon you get to tutor another card. So, I mean, Undying Evil has a lot of targets in here. It is a risky card, because if you Undying Evil something, they can just bounce or remove it in response. I mean, the card is certainly, you know, it's prone to be, you can get blown out by casting this. I mean, your opponent can just absolutely wreck you if they have a well-timed spell. So it's a risky card, but I think it's going to be a little bit fun. And also with Brain Maggot, so you've got something underneath Brain Maggot that they want to get back. They shoot a removal spell at it, and you just Undying Evil it. And you have the choice to either take that card back or look at their hand and take something even better. So, I mean, that's pretty fun. And again, of course, you can protect Talrand. You can just drop him, and if they shoot removal at him, you can give him Undying and get him back. So let's have a look at the mana. Only 11 blue cards in the deck, I believe. 12? Oh, Talrand. Yeah, I was just fiddling around in the deck editor. Yeah, it's 12 because of Talrand. Actually, I may need to change this now that I just added Talrand. I had the mana fix before I put him in and decided on that final slot. I'm gonna go to 12 and 8 since there's only 1 double blue spell, but I think 16 black mana should be able. I mean, the deck is mostly black. You know, it needs double black here and here, and then again higher in the mana. But 16 sources should be fine. I don't know, maybe 17 is right, possible. but I'd like to be able to cast Think Twice onto Vapor Snag as early as possible, you know, in the aura matchups where they go Hoplite into Furor of the Bit, and having a Vapor Snag open early is obviously going to be key. And again, Talrand on 5 mana if I've got an Undying Evil is a thing, so I think 16 black will do. Alright guys, well hopefully the deck performs well, play a couple of games, and maybe like last week we'll see a deck update in the middle of the week. So thanks for watching the tech, and we'll see you for a gameplay shortly.